Hello to all of you dear audience of the Elixir of Awareness channel all over the world. Welcome to episode 36. The main topic of this episode is the feeling of regret, and our main source is a book called The Power of Regret by Mr. Daniel H. Pink. We live in a world where a series of beliefs becomes a slogan for people's lives like a collective hymn. And no one questions or challenges these slogans. One of those slogans that's constantly repeated in our world today, and this book tries to challenge, it's the slogan that says, "I've no regrets." Most people believe that they've followed the right path and there's nothing to regret. So much so that this slogan is repeated even in advertisements, media, or in books that it seems obvious and unquestionable. And when so much light shines through the windows of enlightenment, we wonder why we should think about the darkness, things like feeling of regret. This book is like a question mark in front of the old saying that it says regret is a bad thing.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Of course, the feeling of regret is an unpleasant feeling, but it's an important part of our humanity. People who don't feel regret can't receive feedback about themselves and their identity. They can't change themselves and ultimately can't even reform their society. If we look at regret from the right angle, then not only will it not cause depression, but it will help us to take action and improve things in the world around us and also inside. The main idea of this book is to revive regret. In fact, a world that's so evasive of unpleasant emotions must conclude that all emotions aren't necessarily bad and emotions contain information. And realizing and paying attention to these feelings can open new doors in our mind. Mrs. Susan Shimanoff researched about different emotions for 40 years and asked many people about their emotions and then recorded the information. Interestingly, she found that regret is the most common negative emotion among people. At the same time, even among all negative and positive emotions, regret is the second most common emotion. It means that the only feeling of love is higher than regret. And what's strange is why a feeling that's so widespread and common has received less attention. Why do we know so less about it? And what the author of this book proposes is just a small opening towards the recognition of this important feeling.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Mr. Daniel H. Pink and his expert team conducted very extensive research that forms the major structure of the book. They asked a wide range of people of different ages, what do they regret in their lives? They recorded and studied people's narratives first, and then categorized common stories, and finally, after careful analysis, they reached a very interesting conclusion. They found a model and named it the deep structure of regret. Then Mr. Daniel H. Pink and his colleagues divided the feeling of regret into four main core by using this model. The first is foundation regret. The second is boldness regret. The third is moral regret. And the fourth is connection regret. But the first core is the foundation regret caused by our inability to be conscientious and foresight. This kind of regret shows itself mostly in old age, because one day people will conclude why they couldn't build a stable infrastructure for their life. This means feeling regret in education, health, or financial issues, or even emotional issues. In fact, the need that's lost in this category of people is the need for stability and security. An interesting point that the author adds is the role of society in the formation of this feeling. As we said, the fundamental need in this category of people is the need for stability, and stability is one of the social outcomes. It means that society plays an important and decisive role in creating or not creating stability in people's lives. Mr. Daniel H. Pink believes that if we can't solve this need in ourselves, then we can't do anything to free our other mental forces, such as self-actualization and growth. The second category of regrets is the boldness regret caused by lack of courage. This is the opposite of foundation regret, because in this type of regret, the primary need that isn't met is the need for growth. And unlike the first core, its key message is that I wish I'd taken more risks. An interesting point here is to know how contradictory the human being is and how many complex needs exist within us. It means that we need both growth and some kind of stability at the same time. And it seems that these two needs are in conflict, and no matter how we live, regret will be an essential part of our life. The important question in this type of regret is, what if? For example, what if I could show my feelings to someone I loved? Or, for example, what if I had more courage in my job? Mr. Thomas Gilovich and his colleagues conducted a research that the book refers to. The result of this experiment is that people regret inaction more than their actions. That is, when we do something, we experience less suffering and regret than when we do nothing, even if it doesn't lead to the desired results, because the consequences of the action are clear, explicit, and open, even if it's negative. But the consequences of inaction are vague and endless, because inaction swallows the person like a black hole, and these regrets never end.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
But the third category of regrets is moral regrets. When Mr. Daniel H. Pink and his colleagues examined the narratives of this group, they realized that the narratives of this group of people are the most painful and lasting type of regret. A common phrase used by these people is that I wish I'd done the right thing. And the fourth category is connection regret. This type of regret comes from the depth of valuable relationships that were broken or left unfulfilled. The longest research on happiness was designed and implemented at Harvard University. This research started in 1938, and a wide range of people were observed. Some of them were observed even for 80 years from different aspects in order to answer this important question: what makes us most happy and prosperous? Mr. Dr. George Balan has been the director of this research for 30 years, and in one of his interviews, he said that if I wanted to summarize the result of the longest experiment in history about human happiness in just one sentence, I'd say, happiness means love. That is, the human need for communication and love is the central core of human happiness. If we don't pay attention to these kinds of regrets and deny them, don't understand them, and don't do anything for them, it will take us miles away from happiness. But these four cores of regrets that we mentioned also can remind us of some important points. The first point is about opportunity and obligation. Let's give an example. Have you ever looked at raw negative photos? In negative photos, everything seems to be the opposite of the real world. For example, dark areas are bright, and bright areas are dark. And it can be said that these four models of regret play the role of an old negative photo of a good life. That is, it seems based on this model we must pay more attention to the negative points in order to make the picture of our life clearer and better. What's very important in these four models of regret, and we should look at it more closely, are the basic needs that are in each of these categories. We said that in foundation regret, the major need is the need for stability. In the regret caused by the lack of courage, the fundamental need is the need for growth. In moral regard, the primary need is the need for goodness. And in connection regret, the primary need is the need for love. Now let's think about these needs once more: stability, growth, goodness, love. Now think about the society we live in, and let's think how effective is it in meeting these basic needs. And the question that a society can ask itself is how much it can create a proper atmosphere to promote stability, growth, goodness, and love. If a society is unsuccessful in this field for any reason, it means that citizens live in it, whose hearts are a storehouse of all kinds of painful regrets. And this society will never be a successful society. And let's think again about how much the needs of humans are in conflict with each other.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Dr. Higgins, a professor at Columbia University, has done extensive research on the subject of self-knowledge. He says that every time we look in the mirror, we seem to see one person, while if we look carefully, we will see three characters. One is our actual self. It means the traits we currently have. One is our ideal self, the person we want to become. In fact, it's our wishes and desires. And the third person is ought self, which is the self that we're expected to be. In fact, our duties, obligations, and responsibilities. Inside us, there's always an irregular competition among these three personalities. But what's the relationship of this research with the issue of regret? Mr. Daniel H. Pink has realized that people regret failing to conform their life to their ideal self more than failing to conform their life to their ought self. Don't be confused, we will explain to you now. It means the regret of what we could have been in past is 3 times more than the regret of unfulfilled duties and responsibilities in present tense. Another reason is that we feel more urgent about our ought self, because the society and the environment in which we live constantly remind us of our duties and responsibilities. But what we don't pay attention to here is our ideal version of ourselves that most of us forget. So, to feel less regretful, think more about your actual self. We conclude that no decision is ever completely right. From now on, know that there's no decision that you'll regret for it, and there will be no regret for choosing another path in life. Every decision has a certain amount of regret and uncertainty in it at the same moment, and it seems that humans have no chance to escape from feeling regret, because our mind always conjures thousands of possibilities for us at the moment. Regret, like other feelings, is a healthy and natural feeling that's wrongly denied in the modern world, and its denial makes people's condition bad and worse. Regret is as invigorating and important as any other positive feeling if we can look at it from a new angle. Let's not try to escape from this feeling, because basically a feeling with this depth can't be denied. The feeling of regret makes us human, and even more, if we pay more attention to it, it can make us a better human. And the final and important question of this episode of You is, what do you regret? Please share your comments with us. Thank you very much for being with us until the end.